It's easy to sell electric vehicles to early adopters. The trick is mainstream acceptance, especially with all the misinformation that confuses buyers. The all-new Equinox EV is Chevrolet's attempt to snag the masses with what the people want. Loads of range, reasonable pricing, and oodles of space in the kind of packaging everyone craves.
Compact SUV is the largest market, not only in the US, but in the world.
This launch in Detroit, Michigan is critical considering the software misfire with Blazer EV and that GM is targeting the meat of the market. Equinox EV casts a wide net with something unique to EVs, normalcy. Pricing should help too. Base versions coming this fall will start at $35,000. The two LT trims that we're driving begin at $43,300, then lop off $7,500 courtesy of Uncle Sam, and any incentives that your state might offer. I'm doing things a little bit differently at this event. I don't have time to shoot the detailed review that I normally do, so I'm going to give you the highlights of the Equinox EV and share a conversation I had with my drive partner, special guest star, John Voelcker.
Onwards. Let's go.
If you follow Car and Driver, Inside EVs, and Green Car Reports, you know John's fine work. Before any witty banter, you probably want to know what makes Equinox EV tick. We're in front drivers with 218 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. Range is EPA rated at 319 miles. Adding the $3,300 rear motor for all-wheel drive bumps that to 288 horses and 333 pound-feet and drops efficiency to 285 miles. To fire Equinox up, sit down and pump the brake pedal. There's no start button. The transmission is single speed, recuperation can be set in the menu, and there's GM's trick regen paddle that adds more drag the harder it's squeezed. Of course, there are drive modes. There's one battery size, a 10-module Ultium pack.
It's an 85 kilowatt hour usable battery. We have a max DC fast charge rate of 150 kilowatts. Your 10 minutes, 77 miles of added range, DC fast charge at 150 kilowatts, and you can do available 11 kilowatt charging at home on a level 2 charger.
Juice at home with level 2, which is the advantage with EVs, and the pack will take on 34 miles every hour. Disappointed that there's no storage here? GM put it in here, where people probably appreciate it more. Personal taste.
So, front-wheel drive version.
Yep.
0 to 60 in 8 seconds, they said, right?
Yep. 319 miles of range.
John and I are sent off into the wilds of Detroit. With 6.4 inches of ground clearance, dirt roads will be fine. Tough Forest Service roads, maybe not. It tows up to 1,500 pounds, properly equipped.
This one really competes, according to them, with the VW ID4, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Nissan Ariya, and, of course, the Tesla Model Y. To me, the interesting thing is going to be, can Chevrolet square the circle, if you like, and get both the people who are already prone to considering an EV and their more traditional Chevrolet buying public who may be moving from a combustion engine car but are willing to consider an EV from a known brand in a known dealership that they've worked with.
And during the talk, they were saying that with 319 miles of range, they really feel like that's the tipping point, that people will feel secure buying an EV rather than an ICE car.
I think for quite a while now, GM has been saying 300 miles is the point where people stop worrying. People don't really have range anxiety anymore. They have charger anxiety. So
Good
great,
point.
Can you take this car to grandma's house and do 1 or 2 charging stops? And will it be as seamless as Tesla is now, which is really the gold standard?
My initial thoughts are, it's punchy enough. This is the front-wheel drive version, 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. And it's quiet and it's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what most people are going to be paying attention to on the test drive. And it looks normal, right?
Yeah. And they were very proud of the fact that the dimensional size of their screen diagonally is bigger than Tesla's.
Yeah.
But I was actually impressed by the amount of room inside. We've all tested a bunch of different compact crossovers. This has a fair amount of space. I am most of the way back, and I could absolutely sit behind myself. Wow.
There's some choppiness to this pavement. It's soaking up the bumps pretty nicely. It's not bad. Oh, stop. And the brakes are good.
I'm glad you saw that.
Yeah, that was hard to see.
Yeah.
We've done enough stopping and starting, so I can tell you that the dynamic of this is really smooth, especially the brake pedal, which has a nice firm feel. As far as regen goes, this has no regen on now, and I punch it in, and yeah, a lot more. But John has a beef with this system.
So there's a pop-up here that says set level. So if you want highest regen, you are in normal there.
Let's do that.
You have to press that. So it's at least 2 extra clicks, and then 3 if you want to make that screen go away.
So does that stay on though?
Does it survive through power cycles? We're going to need to test that. Good question.
The other thing is that we have the regen paddle here, which in addition to the strongest regen really hauls this thing down to a complete stop pretty quick. Yeah. The more I drive this, the more I think this is hitting the sweet spot. I mean, when you get behind the wheel, you will have your own impressions, but I do like the steering weight. It's hefty without being too heavy. It's quiet, it's comfortable.
As you said, it's normal inside. I mean, it has big screens, but everything else does. I like the fact that the icons are large enough so those of us with dubious vision can see everything.
Yeah. Also, visibility is good. Visibility is excellent, actually.
Well, for a 2024 car, yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of cars these days are awful. I mean, the Polestar 3 doesn't even have a back window.
Yeah, well.
Come on.
We'll see how that works.
We'll see.
You might have heard that GM doesn't offer Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in its new EVs. More on that in a minute. For now, I'll say they may not be missed all that much. GM's Ultifi interface with its huge 17.7-inch screen is easy to use.
Hey, Google, take us to the Oakland Police Academy.
Wondering why John would ask for directions there? Well, Chevy organized a stop to show Blazer EV is ready for law enforcement duty. Stay out of trouble, and this is the closest you'll ever come to testing the legroom here.
Okay, so I'm cruising along here at 75 miles an hour. Feels like a normal car.
Yeah.
Normal. Normal is the word for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Cruise. Now, the big difference between Super Cruise and Autopilot is you don't have to touch the steering wheel.
2 miles, take exit 18 for I-75 north toward Flint.
You can go, I've gone for hours without touching the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Super Cruise is really good.
Again, this is the Mid-Pack 2LT, the volume model, what most people will buy. Now, for comparison, Equinox EV is some 10 inches longer and 4 inches wider than a Toyota RAV4 hybrid with slightly more passenger room. A reminder that a new gas-powered Equinox is coming. It looks completely different inside and out. The vibe in here is fine. There are some upgraded textures. Many materials are soft to the touch. These flourishes add a pop of color and kind of a 1950s Chevy look. There are also the usual GM budget plastics down below. In over 4 hours of driving, my butt and back were well supported in the heated chairs. Lots of cubbies too. Loads of places to stash drinks, snacks, and kid stuff, though only the driver gets good access to this nook. It's also very normal in here. Okay, let's dive into the Ultifi interface.
Drag and drop. And there, you can pin your favorite apps.
I like CarPlay. I use it a lot. There are times that I'll miss it, but this system, based on a Google architecture, is extremely easy to use, heavy on natural voice commands.
Hey Google, navigate to Madison Square Garden in New York.
Madison Square Garden. All right.
It mapped out like an optimized route for you to get there. It shows you, exactly where you need to go to get charge, how much charge you will have left by the time you get there.
Being an iPhone guy, I might miss native iMessage, Apple Music, and Apple Maps on this screen, but maybe not that much. Texting is supported, Google Maps is native, apps used on phones are available in the Google Play Store for use here. The interface is easy to navigate with excellent response and large icons. Is it perfect? No. Will it get better? GM says yes. And compared to some automakers, Chevy doesn't nickel and dime owners.
Okay, so this relies on telemetrics and a data plan. How long is the grace period for that?
So the 2024 Chevy Equinox EV comes with 8 years of standard connectivity.
Oh, 8 years.
Yep.
Until I shake this down thoroughly, I'll say it's better than expected. Check it out before dismissing the vehicle simply because CarPlay and Android Auto are missing in action. GM isn't alone on this. And while Tesla doesn't really offer physical controls, Equinox remains familiar for those who hate change or just think buttons and knobs are smart.
I'm 5'9" and I have the seat adjusted for a comfortable driving position. Gotta say, the Equinox has lots of room. Headroom, generous, same with knee, leg, and foot room. This will definitely work for a family of 4.
Phones can be charged, vents are adjustable, things can be stashed. The floor is board flat too. It's surprisingly roomy back here. 3 adults should be okay for short trips across town. From 10 paces, Equinox EV looks similar to any compact SUV roaming the neighborhood, electric or ICE, exactly what Chevy designers want. The late great Bolt used a pattern like this. Jeep Compass will want to have a word regarding the D-pillar. Walk-up animation isn't lyric grade, but it's classy. Wheels are 21 inches. The no-cost gravity gray paint shimmers from graphite to plum in different light. It's cool stuff. In the shadow of the Detroit Red Wings home rink, it's only fitting to see how much hockey gear fits in here. This is why SUVs are popular, folks. They're useful. Here's a clearer view. There's space for another couple pair of skates, the mobile charge cord, and the tire repair kit. 2LT's powered liftgate is similar to what Hyundai uses. There's no kicking, just stand near it and it opens. Seats filled, there's 26 cubic feet. Now, that's some 10 less than a RAV4 or CR-V hybrid. Drop the backs, and it's 57 cubes, around 12 less than those two. Chevy prioritizes passenger space. Time to sum this up. Green light. Equinox is an affordable mainstream EV from a mainstream brand. Up to 319 miles of range, which seems very doable, eliminates range anxiety, especially when charging at home. The cabin is spacious and usable for a family of 4. And in a world of change, simply for the sake of it, or for cost cutting, Equinox remains familiar. Yellow lights? The interface seems excellent. Banished CarPlay and Android Auto will drive some away before even trying it. The way GM divvies up passenger space with cargo room will irk some shoppers. The cabin's pleasant ambiance gets budget plastics down low. Red light. Considering its size, the packaging isn't as efficient as expected from an EV. For impatient long-distance travelers, the max DC fast charge rate of 150 kilowatts lags behind EV6 and Ioniq 5. Being associated with the Blazer EV and its stop sale doesn't do Equinox's image any favors. If GM can launch this without drama, it has an affordable hit with Equinox EV. It practically defines mainstream, gas or electric.
I mean, for the average buyer, this is actually a nice package.
Yeah.
It's roomy, it's comfortable, it's quiet on the highway. I'm doing 70, 75 miles an hour. This is the sweet spot. They were talking about it. The compact crossover market is the sweet spot.
25% of all the vehicles sold in America.
There are loads of EV choices these days. Shop and haggle hard. Chevy Equinox EV is well worth the test drive. In many ways, It's the new normal. FYI, I showed Super Cruise briefly. John and I do a thorough breakdown of it in a separate video with the Silverado EV. We both believe it's the best semi-autonomous tech out there.
Hope you got something out of this first look at the all-new Chevrolet Equinox EV, a very important vehicle for General Motors. A reminder that GM brought me to Detroit, put me up in a nice hotel, and fed me good food, but opinions remain my own. It's very important for me to give you accurate information. And special thanks to John Voelcker, a great guy. Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe to this channel, click notifications, follow me on social media, and if you have a question, leave it in the comments. I'll try to get to it. That's Driven. I'm Tom Volk.